Guadeloupe, Trinidad, Los Angeles, California. I live in Los Angeles, California. We got to. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you. We're so happy that you are here. My name is Adam McFarland. I'm the program manager of Black Music and Culture. My name is Adam McFarland. I'm the program manager of Black Music and Culture at YouTube. I help to support all things Black music and Black culture globally. But today, I am standing in as a de facto host until the rest of our team arrives and is here and ready to go. I think there's three things that I want to say to you really quickly. One is that this is an opportunity. This is a gift. Um, so frequently, people take away from the Caribbean. People take out of the Caribbean. People receive things, culture, music, language, art, dance. They take it out of the Caribbean. And so rarely do you have the opportunity to reinvest and to give back and to grow and to build community. And that's why we're here today. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, I like it when you talk back to me. See, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. Anybody know where that is? Let's go, all right? And see, Shreveport is not the Caribbean, but we got very similar tendencies, all right? I'm from the country, all right? I grew up on a farm. I got cows and goats and pigs and chickens. I grew up with my hands in the soil. I know what I'm doing. And that's why when I come here, I feel like I'm home. It really feels like I just went back to where I came from. And for that, one, I say thank you. And two, I say that right now is an opportunity for us to build and develop connection, to identify the things about us that are the same, to find the things within us that we can learn from each other. And so as you have the opportunity to hear from these phenomenal panelists from around the world, I'm literally saying around the world because they come from South Africa and they come from London and they come from New York and they come from Atlanta and they come from Trinidad and they come from Guadeloupe and they come from Jamaica and they come all over, and we have this cacophony of sound and voices. But these voices are not just here to talk to you, they're here for you to talk back as well. You only get out of this what you put into it. Does that make sense? Okay, so your responsibility now is to take away from this as much as you possibly can. You guys are the early arrivers. Very soon, I'll be standing on this stage, and these seats will be filled. It will be standing room only in just a minute. And those people that come after you are not going to get what you're about to get right now. This first panel, if I must say, is one of my favorites. This panel, well, before I introduce the panel, let me also say, we're going to have a series of conversations over the course of the day. There will be some breaks. There will be some music. We need dancing. We need dancing. We need movement. I need some movement. I don't want everybody just sitting down being sticks on a log. Y'all, I came out here, y'all don't really want to be my friend. Like, what's up? Like, I really got to break y'all down, but it's okay. I'm ready for that. Because this is real. This is family. This is community. This is building this development. And so anyways, all of that to say, we're going to have a series of conversations. There will be some breaks in between for you to stretch your legs, for you to do your things, for you to get food. We're also going to have a couple of performances. We're going to have a jam-packed agenda. Make sure that you don't miss any of it. Today is day one of a 5-day sequence. And then the last thing I want to say is you are free to use your phone. So share, take pictures, take video recordings. Make sure that what happens here doesn't just happen here, that this spreads and floods throughout the internet, that people that aren't here are feeling like they missed out on something because they're watching your story. You're using the hashtag Island Music Conference, using the hashtag YouTube Black. Say it again. And tag at Island Music Conference. All right. Any questions before we get started? Just kidding. I'm not taking any questions. All right. We're going to introduce our first panel. The first panel is a panel about management. Some of the biggest artists, managers, literally on the planet are about to come on this stage. We're going to do a panel conversation, and then there will be a question and answer at the end. Make sure you're getting your questions together so that you can make, again, this be a two-way conversation. Is that cool? Man, y'all doing it again, man. Stop playing with me. I said, is that cool? All right, cool. All right, let's get it. First up, we have Miss Madeline Nelson of Amazon Music hosting our panel. And Madeline's going to be joined by Natalie Prosper of Friends Only and Colin Gale. Please make some noise for Miss Madeline Nelson.
right.
Check, check, check.
Mic check.
Check, check. Okay.
Test it. Test it.
Please forgive us, y'all. There's one more very important person that's going to be sitting on this panel. This is a surprise. We didn't know. But if you don't know, now you know. We'd also like to add Miss Sharon Burke.
Wow. Welcome, everyone. I was sure that doing a 10 a.m. panel was going to mean we had 10 people. So this is really, really nice to see the turnout so early in the day. As Adam said, my name is Madeline. I am an artist manager. I do a whole bunch of other things, but before anything, I'm an artist manager. I'm also a momager. My son hates that term. I would love to know in the audience how many of you are here because you either are an artist manager or are hoping to become an artist manager. Okay, so we have a few people who are or interested in. All right. How many are artists? Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. So I like to know the audience. That helps me to steer my questions. So let's start by doing proper introductions with our panelists. We're going to start with Colin Gale, who is co-founder of, I hope I get this right, Africa Creative Agency. Did I get that right? Who hails all the way from South Africa, came a long way to join us here today. You might know one of the artists that he manages. Her name is Tyla. Colin, I would love to have you tell us a bit more about yourself, your other clients, and about Africa Creative Agency and why it was founded.
Good morning. Morning. I'm from Yard. Yard me come from. So we start there, so. Africa Creative Agency was really born out of necessity. I was fortunate enough in the 90s to visit South Africa to work for Madiba for a summer. During that time, I managed an artist by the name of Kenny Lattimore. So I'm an old G. And I went to South Africa, fell in love with the space, and really just really fell in love with the continent, what was going on at the time. Went back 2004 and really started to get into working throughout Africa, not just South Africa, but Nigeria, Kenya. I've been to about 32 African countries to date. The management company was really started to bring kind of more organization, more expertise to the continent, and to look at talent from Africa into the world, and then bringing the world into Africa. So we focus on, we have Tyla, we have Nasty C, we have Salty Soul, we have over 43 writers, we have a massive publishing company, we do Blood and Water, we do Savage Beauty, we do about 6 or 7 Netflix shows, we represent Pearl Tusi, we represent Amakwake, we represent Celeste and Tuli. The company is a really big and growing company. It's about 19 employees to date. I travel the world consistently with my clients. We focus on all the creative verticals from film and TV, music, publishing. We just launched an art division about 6 months ago. That's kind of the snapshot. I'm come from Donga my gully way, our country.
Thank you so much. Man, you just gave me 5 new questions. I don't know if we're going to have enough time, but I'm going to try to fit all of them in from some of the things that you just mentioned. Our next panelist, Natalie Prosper.
Morning.
Natalie, what I find so interesting about your side of management is that you are managing writers and producers. And so often when we think about Grammy award winning, we are only thinking about artists.
Yeah.
But you have managed some producers, writers to several Grammy Awards, D-Mile being one of them.
Yes.
So I would love for everyone to hear more about how your management business was started, I think along with some relatives of
Yes.
yours, is that right?
Yes.
And who some of the clients are.
Yes. Hey, everyone. My name is Natalie. As she mentioned, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, but my mom is from here, from Clarendon, country girl. So I'm very happy to be here. My management career started in college. I had no idea this would be my career path. I became friends with some guys who were dancers, and they asked me to come in and help them on the management front, and I didn't really understand what that meant and what that looked like, but it kind of started there. And really who brought me into the music industry is one of my best friends from college who was songwriting back then, but when I moved to LA on a whim, he came and visited and ended up writing a hit song for Ariana Grande, which was a top 10 Billboard record, and he's like, I need a manager. I don't know any of these people out here. Nat, it has to be you. And I'm like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm willing to figure it out. So it kind of started there with A-Rod, and I picked up Camper. We did a lot of great work with like Her, Breaking Her, and D-Mile, and I became friends when I first moved to LA 10 years ago. I started managing him about 6 years ago, and we worked on Lucky Day together. I was managing Lucky at the time, and he is kind of revered as like helping to bring the R&B renaissance, back to the forefront with what he's done with Victoria Monet. They just won some Grammys a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it started with me just wanting to help my friends and turned into a career. I think I just happened to have good taste in music because I grew up in it. So I picked the right clients, and I have great relationships because we know it's a relationship game. So it started that way.
One of the things I want to talk about is relationships, and sort of everybody thinks about the artist brand, and everybody wants to know what we are looking for in an artist. But one of the things I want to talk about is what the artist should be looking for in us.
Absolutely.
Like what our personal brand is. So
Yes.
I'm happy that you mentioned that. Sharon Burke, I feel like you need no introduction. But I'm going to introduce you as something that many, many people call you, and that is Queen Sharon. We all bow to everything you have accomplished and everything that you are trying to accomplish with keeping the Island Music Conference going. So, Ms. Sharon, if you would, after you hand off that phone, for anyone who might not know, please share your background with us.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming and for coming out this early, because I know in Jamaica we don't usually come out this early when we are in the music business. It's usually after 12. My background is from Reggae Sunsplash. I don't know how many of you know Reggae Sunsplash because you are all very young. And that's what Sumfest is, a spin-off of Reggae Sunsplash. So I spent 16 years doing event management for Reggae Sunsplash. And there I met Papa San, way back, who I decided to manage. And that launched my management agency. I've managed quite a few people over the years. I mean, you name it, from Damian Marley to Conscience, to, Bounty Killer, to Wayne Marshall, to Elephant Man, and presently, let me just move forward because I want to keep it short and sweet. I managed TJ, who was here last year, and I encouraged him to come because he could educate himself and learn more. And that's where he met like the YouTube people and all the people here, which is his success today. I can say that it's from IMC last year. I also manage Idonia. I manage Matthew Malcolm. He's in the artist development stage. Also Jamila Falak, Kamara Icon, and the list goes on and on.
Sharon, you said a magic word, artist development stage. It's sad to me that we don't hear those words often enough anymore. And that brings me to my first question for you, Colin. Specifically, I looked up one day and Tyler was there. I had just, because I moved back into corporate America, I had to stop managing all my artists except for Wyclef. And one of the artists is this beautiful young woman from Norway who put out a song right at the same time that Water came out. But somebody else is managing her at the time of that release. So I'm just kind of like watching from the background, right? And looking at what the differences are between them. Now again, like I said, I woke up one day and Tyler was there. But what I realized the difference was development, artist development, and how long she had been at this. So my first question for you really is about that. It is for what you look in an artist, but also how important is it to you how that artist actually develops? Because by the time I saw her, she was a star. She was an absolute star and already very much on the big stage. So I'm very interested in how the development worked to the point that, like I said, I just woke up one day and she was there, and in a very big way.
I think artist development is key, right? It's you can't just take someone and just throw them on a global stage, right? You got to be prepared for it. And what the public doesn't see, most people only see when she arrived. They didn't see the last 2.5, 3, 4 years of her journey. So for most people, her journey starts with Water, right? And if you get her super fans, they'll say it's getting late is what started it. So it kind of depends on when you enter the movie, right? So what scene are you coming in at, right? Most of the general public is coming in the scene around Water, right? And some are coming in around the Grammys. And so it just kind of depends. But artist development is key. For anything in life, you go to school, you study, you prepare yourself. It's no different being an artist. Even if you are talented, you still have to work at that craft. You still have to understand how to work with the camera. You still have to work how to figure out your sound in the studio, how to put the 8-10 hours in rehearsing and everything else. So some things I think we take for granted because artists are naturally talented, so they figure, hey, this is, I could just do this. I do this naturally. The ones that are really successful are the ones that put the work in, and put the work in and put the work in every day. It's not an easy job. When I look from my position as a manager and from any of my artist position, it's hard work. The demands of being a star is a lot. I come from working from Kenny Lattimore to 50 Cent to Jill Scott to all the above, and I can tell you the ones that are successful are the ones that put the time in, the ones that do work 18, 19 hours a day, the ones that get up and put their craft first and put the work in every day, 7 days a week. There is no days off. And as much as I am the manager to drive that thing, my job isn't to drag you along. My job isn't to pull you across. My job is to help amplify the things you're doing and to give you direction and to work on building your ideas. As a manager, for me, what's critical is listening to my artists. That's probably the most important thing for me, is to listen to what that dream, and I have to buy into that dream. Once I buy into the dream, then I'm there to help you amplify that dream. And I'm here to use my relationships over 30 years to get that moving a lot faster than it may naturally move. But at the end of the day, it is about your dream. It is about your talent. If you work hard, I work hard. You don't do anything, I'm good. I'll keep it moving.
Wow, I love that. It's just a couple of points just for the artists who are here. I feel like it sounds really cliche sometimes when we say, you have to work at your craft 24/7. You have to practice as if you're trying to get to the NBA, but that's a real thing. It's the simplest thing that I think some young emerging artists take for granted is what it takes to actually get on the stage and perform. Like what it really means, the ability to actually hold an audience attention. Just like a comedian goes in front of the mirror and they have to practice and practice and practice that, artists have to do the same thing. So I'm really happy that you touched on that. And the other thing is a manager having to buy into the dream. Because oftentimes I see managers take on the role and they bought into the idea of being a manager. They haven't necessarily bought into the dream of the person that they're managing. So again, this one is just for the artist. Make sure when you're making that choice that you are working with somebody who really is bought in to your vision. That is crucial.
I just want to add one quick thing to it. And just, if you're a manager, remember, we manage human beings. They're not machines. They're people with emotions, people with feelings, people that go through a lot of stuff, particularly in this industry when the light is shined on you and everything you do is magnified. It's a lot. It's a lot. I manage human beings. And as much as I like them to run faster, work harder, they're human beings. And I take that into consideration every day. And we beat to our own drum. I don't care what the industry's doing or what any partner wants us to do. I run at the pace that my client can run at, not at the pace that the business wants him to run at.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Sharon, you wanted to add something?
No, and in the world of social media today, it's even harder for them. In terms of even when they are dressing, I wore this, they can never wear the same thing twice because you have these people who you call internet, yes, who just go on. But you had that on a month ago at the Grammys. And, with social media today, you have to be very careful. It can ruin you. Anything you go out, you spill, you get upset, it just goes viral in no time. So that's another part. The other part is when the success is climbing the ladder, it's not going to always stay at the ladder. And they go into depression, and then it seems that they're artists, and then they get jealous if you take on someone else. It's not really affecting what you're doing with the other act, but it's just that it's not your time again yet. You have to go back into the studio, you have to revamp yourself and start over again. And sometimes they don't understand that. And as Colin says, they are humans, I understand that, but you have to give and take. Because at first you had enthusiasm, now you don't want to do interviews, now you don't want to do this. So we have to be very careful. We have to lay it on the ground. And I think that was a success with TJ and myself. Like, listen, you have to do interviews. This thing about you have 20 men walking with you, they're not buying your songs. Not one of them buying your songs, so.
Oh, man. We're definitely coming back to that one. Thank you, Sharon, for adding to that. Natalie, one of the things I wanted to make sure, because I can see some people filming this, and so hopefully that means the nuggets that are shared here are going to make it to even more folks. But I wanted to ask you, when you're working with producers and writers who are obviously creating hit records, what is the decision-making process about which artists your producers and writers are going to work with? What are the either qualities that you're looking for, or place in that particular artist's career that you might want them to be? What are the things that help your team decide this is the artist that we're going to really focus on, we're going to put a writer's camp around, we're going to do really special things with?
I think what's really cool about our group is that everything is rooted in genuine friendship. The success that D Mile and Lucky have had together, him and Victoria, they've been friends. We've all been friends with each other for over a decade. And they just believed in one another. D saw something special in Victoria. She saw something special in him. And even when the rest of the world didn't necessarily see it, they just stuck together and kept developing her sound, building her sound. So a lot of the success has come from just genuine friends working together. And then when those things become successful, the Bruno Marses start calling, you know? But it starts with that, because making music is a spiritual thing, I believe, and it's a vulnerable thing. When you're in the studio and you're spending that much time creating with somebody, you want to enjoy that process. So I think it makes sense for you to do it with people that you like. So it starts there. I think for someone like D Mile, who is a real music, he's a genius, and he recognizes the genius in other people. So you got to be good, you know. Also, it's like, I might like you, but you might not be as talented as you think you are. So yeah, also just being, you know, having that God gifting that I don't think can even really be taught. You're given that from the time that you enter into the world, and it's just developed over time. But yeah, it starts there with just liking the process that you're creating with someone.
And then I want to add to that again, because it's unique for me to get to, I manage an artist who is also a producer and a writer, so I get it all in one, right? But it's unique when I'm doing panels like this to have somebody who very specifically is focused on producers and writers. So I would love to know also what some of the process for you, like, are you out there pitching to certain artists and labels, your producers and writers?
No, we don't pitch.
Everything
we don't
comes
kind of
to
need
you?
to anymore. Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like early in my career that was more of a thing, like running around LA, pulling up to the labels, like, I have this great producer, let me play you some beats. Yeah, we don't really do that anymore. It's more saying we don't have time.
But that was part of your development process as a
sure.
producer,
Yeah.
as a manager for producers and
Yeah,
writers.
and that's how we have the relationships, because you do that early groundwork and you go and meet all these people. So yeah, when they have projects that are hot, they're reaching out to you like, hey, I know you have such and such, like, are they willing to work on this artist? But yeah, the pitching thing, I can't tell you the last time. I think that game is kind of, you know.
But I think it's funny. I haven't thought about pitching in a really long time. But big part of my career was in Philadelphia, and I managed this crew called A Touch of Jazz, which was producers, which was Vidal, Dre, Carvin, all those guys that started off when they were like 15, 16 years old. And I remember traveling around with DATs, with a bag full of DATs. Yeah. And I would go to A&R guys, and I would try to, you know, the guy was like, all right, you got 20 minutes, and you got 1,000 beats. Right? And you now have to pick one and hopefully pick the right one to press play on. And I remember those early days, and I think it was incredible days. I wouldn't have given those days up for anything. I mean, things are obviously a lot easier now, in the sense that generation that I came in with are now all presidents or CEOs, and so we have long relationships. I think Natalie touched on something. I've known Sharon for 25, 30 years. Like, I've known Sharon for a very, very long time. No, short time. But it's relationships. You know, I'm able to pick up the phone, and even if I don't know someone, it's more than likely I know someone that knows someone. There's not many people, even the younger generation, I'm still extremely connected to. So I think it is a lot about relationships. It is about, I love representing producers. I started really that way with Jazzy Jeff and the whole crew, and I love being a part of that music process, because you have to be able to build. As a manager, you got to be able to have the people who can make the music, who can write the songs, and you need to people who can perform the songs, and then you need to be able to kind of create that funnel, effect. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Sharon, one of the things I really want to make sure and touch on, and you're just the perfect person to start this part of the conversation with, is, as I mentioned earlier, we often talk about what a manager looks for in an artist. I almost feel like that's an understood at this point. We want someone we believe in. We want someone who's going to work really hard. I want to talk to you about what an artist should look for in a manager, what we can and should be doing, as you have done, to build our personal brand. When people think about you, and I'm not kidding you that people believe they can't come to Jamaica unless they get in touch with you. Like, they don't think they are going to know the best place to stay. They don't think they're going to be able to get into, like, the best parties. But more important, when someone wants to be able to get in touch with an artist, whether you manage them or not, they know they have to call you. Well, that's what they believe. So that's your personal brand. That's a personal brand that you have built that makes all of us believe we got to go through Sharon. If we're going to reach this person, that's who we have to call. So can you talk to us about that, about number one, having built your personal brand as a woman, and we know on the management side is really tough, and separately, what you believe your artist should be looking for in you?
Well, first of all, this is all coming from back at Sunsplash again, where I'd booked all the 100 acts. So over 100 acts over 5 days. So you know these people, and they keep coming back every year for like 18 years of my life. So you get to know them, and you build those relationships, and so it comes natural after time. I worked with Sinbad on his HBO special for 10 years, where I'd spend like a month with him, getting together everything as one of the talent producers. And I find that doing the festivals really started me out. Going to Nigeria, doing This Day Music Festival, being the talent producer. So, and then you had to deal with so many different personalities. So I said, this is what I need to look for in an artist. I just certainly don't want to deal with somebody like that. I'd love to deal with somebody like that, because as you know, Madeline, it's tough dealing with Caribbean artists, because they feel as if they are sometimes bigger than what they really are. And I tell them there's a much bigger world out there than just our friends being here. I see it all over, just not Caribbean artists, globally that happens. So for me, the artists have to, because I get short very quick. I mean, I will work 24/7, but if you're not giving me the same kind of energy, I'm out of there. I mean, Wycliffe, for instance, calls me Don King. So, and everyone knows I work very hard. So if you're going to rock with me, you have to work 24/7. So that's what I'm looking for in an artist as a manager.
Got it.
I don't know if I answered all the questions or I just went off.
Got it. Thank you so much, Sharon. Natalie, your personal brand. What should your producers and writers be looking for in you? What did they see as your personal brand that makes the relationship continue to just grow?
I'm honest. I'm sometimes maybe too honest. But yeah, I think that there's value in that, because this industry is full of a lot of BS and cap and people just saying what they think you want to hear. And I'm going to tell you the truth. based on what I feel, because I don't have all the answers either. But I think that that's something, it can cause strain in a relationship. But I think that people that want to be successful don't want yes people around them. They want people that are going to be honest. So I think that's a big part of my brand, and it's a part of being a friend. And friends only, I think that's where the concept kind of came from, because that's the root of why I do what I'm doing and who I decide to do it with. But we have to be able to be honest with each other. Even as a manager, I want you to be honest with me. If there's something that you don't like, there's a lot of times that relationships get tumultuous because we're not having real communication. But yeah, that is, for my brand, something that really matters to me. Like, we have to be able to be real with each other in order to be able to make real decisions together and move forward your career. Yeah.
Thank you. Colin, what is your personal brand, sir?
I think for me, it's I watch how people deal with people in the good times and the bad times. It's about, we can argue. Sharon and I will argue back and forth about numerous things, but there is a respect. I will always take a call, and vice versa. We'll always figure it out. So I think a part of my brand is I'm gonna figure it out. You know, my artists know we're gonna figure it out. No matter what the issue is, in a calm way, we're gonna figure it out, right? I think my personal brand is key is my relationships, my ability to see talent, and I think the third thing is probably just really I believe. When I believe, I believe. You know, to take at the point of my career in 2004, at the height of my career, I had running all of Curtis Jackson's brands globally. I decided to stop doing that and move to the continent because I believed that that was the future. I believed that this 2 billion people was going to change the world and that it would require sacrifice, commitment, belief. I went to Africa when everyone was still calling it a shithole. And not just the president, but everybody else, every one of my colleagues, including my partners now, including my wife who thought I was crazy, all the above. I believed in this space. I believed in the talent in that space. So believe. I believed and I stuck it out and I figured it out into where now it is what everyone wants to be or go or do. And so I think believe is a big part of my brand. I started off my career, funny enough, with Kenny Lattimore, who, when mutual friend introduced us, long story short, and he wanted me to manage him. My friend was not managing him anymore, and he said, I want you to manage him. And I said, I've never managed anyone. I don't know how to do management. I just got out of school. And I was like, let me try to help you find someone who could do this job. I'll do some interviews with you. And we did a few of those, and he said, these people are all great. They have great CVs and blah, blah, blah. But I'd rather you and I do it together because you believe in me. And whatever I don't know, we'll figure it out together. And the rest was history. So I think I started with the word believe, and that's been my key.
Got it. Beautiful. All right. So for the artists and for the managers, let me tell you what you just heard are qualities you should look for in personal brand of a manager: discernment, honesty, tenacity. So y'all might want to write those down. That is what you just heard. Wow, I have chills because I know those things to be true about everyone on the panel. I want to touch upon the fact that everyone here represents. I don't even want to use the word genres really, but I'll use genres of music that either everyone was saying were dead or got pushed out of the way because another genre was coming in, or one that now everyone is finally understanding is a force. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about each of those and what it takes to stay true to the artist that you're managing in that space. So particularly, Sharon, 2 years ago when I was here, one of the things that everyone was talking about was, reggae is dead, and there's only going to be Afro beats now, and so many of these artists that we know and love are not going to be recognized at the streaming services. And I know the streaming service where I report into work every day just finished creating 4 brand new playlists for the genre, and we got a directive to put a heavy focus on the music that's coming from the islands. So I would love to know what it has taken for you. So for instance, to see TJ in that time when everybody was saying, oh, the genre's dead, what did it take for you to like keep knowing and believing that one genre is not going to come along and all of a sudden this genre that's been here for such a long time go away?
The first thing I believe in, and I know, and I will tell everybody, Africa has how many? 2 billion people? Okay. Caribbean has how many? I would say about 12 million, which is just a drop in the bucket. Once we understand that, then we are going to be on the right track. So for me, it's collaborations. You understand? So that's how I'm going to get my artists out there with the different collaborations. Clef will tell you, I bug Shaggy every day. Listen, he's the best because I believe in him. And Shaggy is the person who I always go to say, listen, you're not going to help me out. I need this, I need this. And he says, just for another one to let you down again. No, but then he went with me with TJ and he's very happy. But what I believe in is collaborations, and that can get our acts because we are not as big as, I keep pestering Colin here, and I'm going to say publicly, Tyler and TJ, Tyler and TJ, Tyler and TJ, over and over. I don't know it's going to happen because he's my friend and I'm saying it publicly. Anyway, so I just have a drive. Once I'm involved with the artist to get him going, he's going to get going. And PR, public relations, marketing, everything comes along. I look out for people, like I'll go and say, who's the top artist in Australia, and go after them to do a collab. And that's how we are going to get viral, because we are very small to the US, to Africa, to Asia. So we just have to recognize that. Shaggy went global in a time when, I think he went first London with O Caroline. That's where he got his first plug. It's just, and you just have to make the right decisions when you're doing this. So it's all about collaboration. So I'm not going to look on it as if I'm in a box and this is reggae and dancehall. And it's certainly not dead. And the Caribbean music is not dead. Zouk is not dead. Soca is not dead. Reggae is not dead. Dancehall is not dead. Because I go and we will fill a venue of 9,000 people. We just need the stakeholders and corporate and all these people to believe in us, like they are with the Africans.
I also want to say, for the record, Afrobeats, and I love Afrobeats. If you talk to a lot of these Afrobeats artists, they're going to tell you they studied dance hall. They studied this music to create their sound.
Yeah.
So it's small, but there's had so much influence on the music that's coming out of Africa right now, and they'll tell you that.
The rhythm, okay, everyone here is taping, so I'm going to try to choose my words carefully. There was another Jamaican guy named Mark Redguard, and we went to Nigeria together in 2004. And Mark still lives in Nigeria. But during that time, between 2004 and about 2010, Mark would bring all the rhythms from home, from here to Nigeria, and give them to the DJs. And I think that had a lot to do with influencing that sound, because if you carefully listen to dancehall and you listen to Afrobeat, the only really big difference is Nigerians are extremely melodic, right? They're extremely melodic. And so I think when you just take that beat and you put that kind of melodic and that slang on it, it really works. And if we're being honest about Afrobeat, It's just positive shit. No one's dying.
Exactly.
You know, no one's, excuse my French, a bitch hoe.
Exactly.
You know, everybody's, you know, and I think we're a bit over that. I think
Yes,
we've had a
sweet.
long period of being really negative and promoting negativity, and I work for 50 Cent, so let's be clear. You know, I'm very part of all of that. I'm not excusing myself from it, but I just think we're just at a point where people want to dance. People want to be happy. They don't want to be, you know, and I think that's just what you're seeing, generally speaking, around the sound. But I think it starts off really very simple. Is that artist a star or is it a song? That's the big difference to me. I look for stars. And that's the basic ingredient for me because there is a lot of hit songs. There are people that can perform hit songs, but are you a star? When that girl walks in a room, she's a star. There's not a question. There's not a question who she is. It's not a question is Nasty C a star. It's not a question is Wizkid a star. When you see him, when he walks in here, you will recognize him instantly. Not because he's Wizkid, it's because of that energy that you get from him, that you get from stars. Right? That's really at the end of the day. Are you a star? There's a bunch of people that I represent that are great. They can have a hit song, and we could ride that out, and we could do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I'm looking for stars. I can build on that. I can find songs. I can do all kinds of things. We can work together. But at the base, are you a star? That's it. It's that simple.
I love that.
And that's not about how much designer you wear either.
That definitely does
be a
not make
star,
you a
right?
star. Natalie, we're gonna head into the Q&A, but I really do want to also just touch on R&B. Is it dead?
No, what?
Obviously not, right?
R&B has been, you know what it is? Bruno Mars is an R&B artist. I think when black people do R&B, it's seen differently. But a lot of other people are doing the genre, and it's considered pop because they're not black. But it's like, no, this is R&B music.
Can I please talk about this pop thing? Can I just for 1 second? Guys, pop is not a genre.
No.
Pop is popular.
Yeah.
It's not a genre.
Yes.
Let's be clear.
Yes.
Pop is not a genre.
No,
We don't
it's
go
not.
into the studio and say we're gonna make pop music.
Right.
Right? It's
Yeah.
just it's meant to just say popular. That means that people across multiple spaces, multiple cultures like it.
Yes.
That's all the word means. At the end of the day, it's it's words and melodies and a beat. That's really at the end of the day, and these divisions is what we use to divide and whatever,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
I make music. I don't really care what you call it. Whatever makes you feel good, you want to call it, it's great. Whatever works for you. Call it dancehall, call it Afrobeat, call it R&B, call it pop, call it whatever you want. Call it I'm a piano. Call it what you want. Is your head
dance to
nodding?
it.
That's all I care.
I always say music, nothing crosses over to pop. It just becomes popular. That's what I
Yes.
always say.
Yeah.
All right, oh my gosh. I feel like the luckiest person in the room to have been able to be on this panel, moderate this panel with all of you, so thank you so much. We are gonna open up to Q&A. I am not sure are we doing microphone? Do you want me to share mine?
There's a mic.
How are we? Who's deciding who gets the microphone?
Hi, I am Baron. Hello. I'm a Guadeloupean singer, and I'm very grateful for the Island Music Conference to having us today. So I'm songwriter. I apologize for my English because I'm not fluent, but I try to explain myself. Okay. I'm also doctor. I'm radiation oncologist in Guadeloupe. I work in a hospital, in a governmental hospital in Guadeloupe. So, as a doctor, I'm very interested about the the mental health of the artist.
Mental health. That
Mental
is
health.
big.
Yes, because lot of artists can present psychological trouble like anxiety, like depression, etc., etc. And I think it's very important to include in the staff of the artist, producer, manager, but also health mental therapists, because artists are like athletes.
Yep.
Each athletes have a physiotherapist, and I think that a psychologue or psychologist or psychiatre, psychologist, for the prevention, because sometimes it's too late when the artists develop or present this type of sign, like Kanye West, etc., etc. And I think the success, the pressure of the pressure of the visibility, yes, have been to have prevention. So I want to know if you have some mental health therapists in your staff, or what
Yep.
is your strategy?
I am so big on, I feel like everyone needs to be in therapy because we all have things, we've all had some trauma in our lives. Therapy has saved my life 100%. And I encourage all artists, because fame is not all it's cracked up to be. People think they want to be famous, but it's not necessarily that fun. But mental health is absolutely a priority for me. It starts there. What you don't want to have is an artist who is reaching that level of success and they start to have that break, because it does happen, and I think it's natural. But that always has to be at the center of what you're doing, is making sure that they're well in their mind, because everything else revolves around that. It starts with their well-being. So I'm very, very much advocate for therapy and
I
making
can't
sure you're taking care of your mind.
Can't agree more.
Yeah.
I think wellness. I think we just wellness. I think that I can only imagine. I can't imagine what it is to have 30 million people looking at everything I do and having a comment about everything I do. I can't imagine what that would do to me, from a mental perspective. So I think wellness. I think we're starting to get it. I think this generation is starting to really tap into wellness. Most of our clients have access to a psychologist that is not on staff, but we pay for. We do not engage. We do not know when they use the service. We get a random invoice, but not with necessarily a name on it. It's something that we put together probably 4 years. 4 years ago, a good friend of ours in South Africa took his life. An artist friend, Ricky, and I think it's when we really started to focus on the space. And so it's a big thing for us as a company. It's a big thing for me as a parent, as a person. I think that we need mental check-ins, and I think that in today's digital world, it's a lot different, and particularly mental health has been taboo in our culture for a long, long time. You know what I mean? We have never dealt with that as a culture. And I'm in Africa, so to give you context, it's definitely not a thing, right? And being Jamaican, I had a whole heap of mad cousin, I had mad uncle, who just needed some mental health, really, and that no one was paying attention. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you, Natalie, for being so honest, both of you too. Um, Next question. We have only about 2.5 minutes left, so I'm going to ask you to be really swift with your questions so we can make sure you get an answer.
Check, check, 1, 2. Okay. Hi, good morning, panelists. Good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Davis, and I am a musician multi-instrumentalist. I'm an artist as well. I do a bit of songwriting and producing on the side. As an artist myself who values the intricacies of my music and the creative direction of my projects on like a really deep level, how would I be able to effectively communicate my vision and expectations to a potential manager to ensure a successful partnership?
You do radio?
Yeah, you have a great speaking voice.
Thank you.
If this music thing don't work out, you can do radio. Go ahead, you can take it, man.
Mood boards. You're asking how you communicate your vision. Yeah, I think things like that. Like, if you're clear on what you want and what you want to present to the world, we're just here to support your vision. So the more clear you can be on what it looks like, it's world building. That's what we talk about. It's like, how is it that you want to be presented to the world? It's what you look like. It's what your stage show is like. It's what your band sounds like. It's all these things. And if you are clear on what that looks like and you can communicate that, I think on the creative side, you know, like I said, mood boards, references. It's like, it looks like this, a combination of this thing and that thing. These are the colors. This is the texture. I think that that's always helpful to your team when you're clear on your vision and you're able to like spell it out for us so that we can help amplify it and put it into the world on your behalf. I don't know if that helps you at all. Yeah.
I can quickly share a couple of artist examples for you. Oh, you know what? No. We have a question, right? We have a couple of questions. We have 20 seconds. Let's see how fast we can do this.
Here first? Okay, I'll wait.
Hello. Yeah, my name is it recording? Okay, my name is Mono Mukundu. I am from Zimbabwe. And I hope you understand my accent well. I heard you mention that there are rumors or there are some people who claim that reggae is dead, who claim that dancehall is dead. But believe you me, in my country, reggae is very big. Dancehall is very huge in Zimbabwe. So one of you also mentioned about population, and population is a very serious concern. But my question is, your population in Jamaica is less than 5 million, is it?
Less than, yeah.
Less than 3.
Yeah.
Less than 3 million.
Yeah.
Okay, in Zimbabwe, we are 15 million. And before I say that, Africa is a huge continent. It's not just one country. Right. Every country has got its own problems and its own demographics. So my question is, in Zimbabwe, we are 15 million. In Jamaica, you are less than 3 million. But in Jamaica, you have had more international artists than us. So my question is, what tips can you give people like me on how we can have more international artists like you? Because we are less than our people. Your number is 3 million. We are more than 15 million. But we have got more international artists than us.
I definitely want to take this one, and Sharon, you should take this one. Yo, I say this all the time, yo. This thing called yard, yo. This thing called yard is special, yo. This thing called Jamaica is a special thing, you know. When we go yard, when we go Nigeria, we say, we are the center of the earth. And yeah, so it start. At Jamaica, it start. At Jamaica, it finish. And yeah, so. Jamaica is a small place. But no way you go into this world where you don't know me colors, you don't know me music, you know me here, you know how me move. That's one little small place. I think when we come out, our mother womb, they must say smack me on my body and say one thing or something. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know what that answer is. I think it's belief. Part of the problem, the cockiness that we have,
Yes.
which is a problem in most cases, but the cockiness of Jamaica, it's the Nigerian cockiness. You know, they say we come from Nigeria. right? Most people, Jamaicans would like to deny that, but if you go to Nigeria, you spend 2 days in Lagos, you realize, this is where we come from. We don't come from Ghana. There's nothing to do with Ghana and us, right? If you understand, I've been to 32 African countries. If you understand it, we're from Lagos, we're from Nigeria. That energy, and I think it's an energy. I think we believe in ourselves against all odds. We do not, I feel that, and if I speak about Africa in general, I live in Joburg, and so if I speak about Africa in general, I think we can get real shy when the lights turn on. You know what I mean? That bravado, that bravado, you only see it in Niger. We can become very meek. And I know someone's taping this, and I know someone's gonna go somewhere, but I'm just being honest. We could be meek. And from a culture perspective, we're taught in Africa to be respectful. So being arrogant or displaying that is almost a sign of disrespect. So when I come into a room with my Jamaican arrogance, my SA friends will be like, bro, calm down, my bro. Calm down, my bro. You know? But it's that is the difference. You know, I'm not asking for permission. You know, I don't ask for permission. This is my world. I'm gonna make it the way I want it to, the way I want to see it. And I'm not gonna ask anyone for permission to do that. You see that by any youth on the street in a yard. Any little boy on the street, a yard. You see that in them. That's the difference.
Thank you. We are well over time. Sharon, would you please?
I wanted to ask a question, just based on what Colin was saying, if I can. Colin, as a radio DJ, yeah, and Sharon touched upon it, the enthusiasm sometimes disappears when our Caribbean artists get to that top, egos kicking. But then we see the rise of Afrobeats, and we see how big Afrobeats has become. And I say to myself, with the talent that we've got in the Caribbean, what would you say to a Caribbean artist to help him get to that stage where a Davido or a Wizkid or a Burner is? Because I think that sometimes it could be in the attitude.
We acted like this didn't happen before. We're acting like what's happening in Nigeria is some new shit, and it didn't happen. In the 90s, my auntie who's speaking tomorrow as a keynote, Vivian, who had Patra, who had Shaba, who had all of that. We have done it before. I don't know why we're trying to act like we never did this. Like this is, oh my God, the Nigerians are doing it. Oh my God, well, how do we do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, put on your big boy pants and get your shit together, get back in the game.
Make better music.
Make better music.
Gotta make better music.
It starts
guys.
with music.
Yes.
It starts. I mean, there's a lot of marketing shit. There's a lot of social shit. There's a lot of influencer stuff. End of the day, my bro, it starts with a song.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Yes.
A hit song changes the conversation.
Yes.
One dance changed the conversation.
Yep.
Right? What's the other kid that did the thing with Kanye? Come Sharon, what the boy name? Where they get on the plane with Kanye and do the watch. The first Afrobeat one. I can't think of my name now. It starts with a song. Davido had a song. Wiz had a song. Yes. Tyler has a song. Yeah. At the root of all of this we're talking about, it starts with a song. Yeah. Let's not forget, we're not in the social media business. We're not in the influencer business. We make songs. So if you don't have a song, I don't care how pretty you dressed up and how nice you are, it ain't gonna work. You need a song.
Fact.
Better songs. Make better songs.
I'll say one thing to add to that quickly. I know we're taking somebody else's stage now, but when I was at Sony Music, that CEO that we were speaking about, one of the very first meetings we had was with the 3 CEOs of the 3 big labels, Columbia, RCA, and Epic. And he asked the question, what makes a hit marketing campaign? Like what, what do you need? And everybody, these are 3 CEOs, started naming off all of the things that have to get done. The artists should already be touring, and they should have merch. They were naming everything you could think of. Not a single one of them said a song, a hit song. So he let everybody talk. When everybody was done, he said, well, okay, I see why I have my work cut out for me here. The answer is simple. The answer is a song. And this is somebody who ran the music business at the very highest level. And now we're talking to managers who are running the music business at the highest level and telling you the very same thing. It really starts with the music. It really starts with the music. Miss Sharon, you want to close us out?
I just want to thank everyone for coming, and be early tomorrow. And this was a great panel with all good friends.